Okay, well, I'm live and I don't know if anyone is here. This may have been the most terrible time to actually do a live event right before a holiday on a Sunday evening. I don't know. Currently, there are 0 views. So, I don't even have good music set up to really play, so we'll just wait a little bit. Maybe someone will stop by. Oh, it's not showing up. Okay. All right, well, there's no one here. And no one in the chat. Yeah. Um, so if anyone is here and would like to say hi, please do so in the chat. Would love to know who is here. And let's see if this works. So it's Low Castle. Yeah. Hey, man, how's it going? It is things here are not terrible. And I know there's a little bit of delay between what I see in my preview and what actually goes on screen. And oh, we've got Russ from Minneapolis. Wow. Well,
We live in Minneapolis.
yeah, I've been to Minneapolis before. Been to Dinkytown, actually. So if you know where that is, just let me know. If not, we'll have to go into that sometime.
Yeah, 4 times in one summer.
Yeah, sure did. I went up there several times in one summer. So, anyways, well, Low Castle and Russ, I guess we'll get started. So, Not Terrible by Goodmonkey is here, and I hope the audio is coming over okay. So, if it is not, please let me know. I am using a new microphone. All right, thank you, Low Castle, for that. He said it sounds good, so I'll keep on going. Well, in my last live view, I talked about what my schedule for the summer would be, and that has ultimately failed. June went by, and I don't think I did anything other than a couple of shorts on, I don't even know what at this point. But
Live salty.
yeah, I mean, I'm a retired AF guy. I did do a few shorts, and that that was actually kind of fun. So I've done a couple for this channel, and they are not quite as the fun style. So maybe I should stick with that. But work has really gotten in the way, and I'm getting to a point where I think I can actually come back to YouTube and start making some content. And yeah, okay, so this is pretty cool. I'm gonna bring this one up. So Dinkytown is just north of the U of M campus. Yes, I know that. That is because of the campus. And my now wife, she was there working, doing some of her work for her degree. And so I went up there and visited. And was it in Dinkytown that we had the really good burger?
Yes. So
okay.
So I lived in Dinkytown for a summer while I was working on my graduate work at UMN in the School of Medicine. And Goodmonkey came up and visited a handful of times. So, we of course had to do all of the normal touristy things, and we had to go see the big Target downtown Minneapolis and get crepes at the really great crepe place that's inside a building in downtown. But I lived in Dinkytown, and we had a pretty good time whenever he came up that
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anyways, about work, if anyone has seen one of my shorts, you know I am dealing with lots of Chromebooks. And so far, I think I have done a factory reset, cleaning, troubleshooting, stuff like that on about 1,900 Chromebooks so far. And I've got a few more hundred to go. And then I think things will slow down just a little bit. But that doesn't mean that I haven't been doing things, trying to get some content out. But anyways, that's just a little bit of what's been going on. But the title of this live stream was "You Really Can't Make This Up," or "You Can't Make This Up." And the reason for that is because of a story that I'm going to let my wife tell, about last weekend. And we're going to try to get her set up with her own microphone so it'll come through a little bit clearer. All right, so just clip that on and then we'll hit the power button on it. All right, do a mic check.
Hello, can you hear me?
It looks like it's coming through okay.
Awesome. Well, last weekend I went to Cape Cod to visit a friend who I actually had never met in person. It was wonderful. We met on a Facebook group about 4 years ago and have had an open invitation. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to go take 4 days for me. My trip was absolutely wonderful. Did some whale watching. Just hung out with her and her kids and her husband. And on my way back, I took the ferry over to Martha's Vineyard and flew into LaGuardia. And I had like a 2.5, 3 hour layover, nothing major. So we get on the plane and we're supposed to take off about 3:50. And we sit on the plane and we leave the gate. And about 20 minutes later, the captain comes on and says, "Hey, we're going to be sitting here a while. So we're going to start handing out snacks and drinks. Get your computers, let us be on our phones, all kinds of good fun." At that point, we were number 40 for takeoff. Yes, 40. And about an hour later, we were number 30 for takeoff. And he says, it's okay because there's a couple dozen planes getting ready to have to go back to the gate. And so we'll move up pretty quickly. Well, another hour goes by and we're 7 or 8. And then we hit our time. So they actually had to cut an engine. So it got really warm in the plane because they had to conserve enough fuel to actually get back to the Carolinas from LaGuardia. Well, we do that. Then he's like, "Oh, we timed out. We're going back to the gate. They're going to delay the flight. There's a new crew. Y'all will be fine." Great. That's about 7 p.m. About 7:15. Oh, nope. They canceled the flight. Okay, cool. I'll get rebooked next day. No big deal. Well, as life would have it, that did not happen. I checked with my gate agent. He's like, "There's nothing with a guaranteed seat until Saturday." Mind you, this is last Tuesday. So from Tuesday evening at about 7:30, 7:45 p.m., I was told that I had to stay in New York until Saturday to get a guaranteed seat home. And they could not even put me on standby until Friday. And that just wasn't going to work. And I was like, okay. So I went and called my husband and we started looking at some options. And we're like, okay, doesn't seem to be too many. Well, I go down a couple more gates and find a gate agent who was very young and spry and chipper. And I said, "Hey, can you look into this?" So what does this gentleman do? He looks for every airport within like a 3-hour train ride of New York, going to any airport in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Nothing until Saturday. Same story. At that point, I was like, well, let me see if I can find somebody who wants to drive 10 hours tonight and drive back. We'll just find a car. Woman behind me goes, "Hey, I'm happy to." Cool. Made a friend. Well, friend and I start looking for rental cars. No rental cars. Nothing out of New York. Nothing out of Newark. Call my husband. He starts looking. There are no rental cars between like Richmond, Virginia, and somewhere north of New Hampshire at this point. Okay, so now we're looking at trains. All right, well, there's a 3 a.m. train to DC. Cool. I can get a seat on the 3 a.m. train. And that's about 8:15 p.m. at this point. All right. 3 a.m. train gets me into DC just after 7. But wait, I can't get out of DC. There's no flights. There's no rental cars. and all the trains going south are booked until Friday. Well, that doesn't work. So at that point, my husband was like, he messaged my parents. It was like, you may have to come help take care of the kids. I may need to drive to DC. Well, just so happens the friend I made, she was working on trying to get a car too. She called her sister in Connecticut. So her sister and her mom drove a car to LaGuardia Tuesday night so that we could drive 10 hours back to the Carolinas overnight. And so once we knew this was coming, about 8:30, I said, hey, what kind of car is it? She was Subaru Impreza. Great, we can take a couple more people. So we got back to our original gate, and I go, hey, there are no rental cars, but we have a car coming. It will be here about 10 p.m. if anybody wants to drive back to the Carolinas with us. And 2 other women did. So it kind of starts off like a bad joke. You have me, Goodmonkey's wife, with a data scientist, computer programmer, a mental health counselor for the VA, and a retired supply chain and logistics manager. And we became really fast friends. And then we got in a car at 10 o'clock Tuesday night, and we drove 10 hours and got back to our intended airport at 8:25 the next morning. Learned a lot about each other, made some new friends. The friend that was the VA mental health counselor had actually already been stuck in New York for 2 days. So she got back to New York on Sunday from Africa and was already there on the canceled flight with us Tuesday night. So she was not interested in staying an additional 5 days in New York either. But yeah, so I ended up getting back, but I made 4 friends. And one of my friends at work was like, so did you really just get in a car with 3 strangers? And I said, no, not really. I coordinated the 3 strangers. It was much more fun for me that way. But the whole trying to get out of New York with everything there, I looked into Uber. It was like $700 for an Uber from New York to DC. I even looked into a chartered airplane. It was about $10,000. And I'm like, okay, is there anybody crazy enough? Like another 19 people would be ideal to spend an arm and a leg to get back. But yeah, we looked into everything. We found out after the fact that there was somebody who actually chartered a bus to go to Detroit to pick up the 2 of their kids, then to come back to the Carolinas because they had no other way to get back. So they chartered a bus. So if anybody else out there dealt with any of the travel nightmares of the Northeast last weekend, I could tell you I lived through them, and I lived to tell the tale and see another day. But it was very comedic. You cannot make it up. You could not make up my story about how I got home from Cape Cod if you didn't try. I mean, we did ferry, airplane, and automobile, and we thought about trains and private airplanes and buses and taxis and everything else. So I kind of lived out my own personal planes, trains, and automobiles last week.
So, like I said, you cannot make this up.
No.
So anyways, thank you so much. Yep, we can turn the mic off. Just hold it down, power button down. Boom. Hopefully that wasn't too loud for the turning off and everything. So, with that,
now the reason you really
is there anyone left? It's not because of my wife. I know it's because I'm sitting here and just a couple hands, and what is this? And there's a cup. So yeah, why would anyone really want to watch it? So this may be the worst live view to go down in history. I don't know for certain. Yes, Escape from New York. Yes.
There we go. See, that's what it should be. Escape from New York. I like this. Would.
Not even Kurt Russell could get out of there. Oh, that's great. All right, so what I've got here is my next experiment. So I had a little mini PC that could be a firewall router that died quickly after putting it into service. So what I have here is a new one that I bought off of Amazon, and I'm going to hook it up in my lab environment first, see how it works, and see if it'll survive. Speaking of lab environment, the other thing I've done is I ordered a 12U server rack, so I'm going to go into that space now.
Took over the dining room for shipping and receiving.
Yeah, and currently our dining room, which is also labeled shipping and receiving, is full of everything from my wife's office, because that's what we've been doing this weekend, is clearing everything out and repainting. So anyways, with that, just because it's what I do on live, let's open up a box, just because. And this is in the theme of, yeah, probably not an actual review, but if my networking stuff, if I can actually get it up to a point where I can say, hey, I did some networking stuff, then this might actually be of use. All right, so it looks well protected. That's always nice. All right. So this is a rack mount switch. It's a TP-Link T2500G with a 10TS. This is a gigabit managed switch with I think it's a 10 gig SFP. I'm not fancy enough to actually use fiber yet between anything, but it's even got the rack mounted ears, so that should be pretty nice. But yeah, so since it looks like it's a hangout for you and me there, Low Castle, what you up to? I did see your eBay games #3, and I need to go watch that. But the TP-Link was a eBay thing for me. Yep. So I've got a few things in the works. I'm going to be doing something for Amazon Prime Day. It's nothing real big, but hopefully that will generate some content. Hopefully some people will like it, and then that will, who knows, Prime Day may cause me to buy a few things that then I have to actually try out. So, well, don't really know what else to say. Maybe I should, yeah. So, doing anything with the networking setup, yes, I actually need to, because I have changed the home network here, but I haven't put anything together. We did have an issue with it though a few weeks ago. We had a power outage, and when the power came back on, it had been out for about 3 hours. Power came back on. The mini PC I was using did not come back on automatically. We didn't notice it right away. So when I rebooted it, then we were having problems with DNS. Well, of course, it must be my settings I have in DNS. Well, no, it looked like it was the ISP's DNS, something wrong with it. So right now we're running straight off of like 888, or I'm sorry, quad 8 and quad 1, I think.
Yeah, we had to reset DNS servers because I had all kinds of internet pages that just would randomly not load. He's like, well, but I can get them to load at least on my phone. And I'm like, well, so we played, hey, let's change our DNS servers.
Yeah, so took the pie holes out. I've got to figure out what's going on with them. I'll probably put them back in line. But yeah, so networking, I will eventually make a video on. I've got a couple more mini PCs. I've got a couple more HP 800 G3s and a ultra small desktop, I think is what you call it. I don't know why I bought it, probably because of watching Low Castle's video. So I decided to go look for one and bought it, then had to buy the power supply, then ordered some RAM to replace some bad RAM, and I'm a little disappointed in it. But you know, I can't always be cool like Low Castle. Any plan on doing anything for the 4th? Are we planning on doing anything for the 4th?
I just told one of my friends I was planning to be a pool bunny with beverages of choice.
All right. So
unless I decide to paint another room of the house, which is entirely possible.
it is possible that I will be painting on the 4th of July and might get to go to the pool. That's going to be what I'm saying is probably going to be my 4th of July plans.
Yep. And food.
Yeah, we might do the typical thing of hot dogs and burgers.
Or we might do the not typical thing and eat cereal. Who knows?
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, it's not that we have a pool, but there is a pool in the neighborhood that we can go to, so that's always nice.
And it's about a 4-minute walk for us. So it's not far and we don't have to drive. And it's also not crowded ever.
Yeah, so go see some fireworks from your front yard.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah. So
you've not been here on the 4th before.
I have not, and
oops.
Sorry, a cat knocked over a switch.
No, so Goodmonkey has actually not been in this house with us on July 4th due to military orders. So this will be his first 4th here, and we were discussing it the other day, and I said, well, the great thing is we just sit on the corner because the cul-de-sac that way and the cul-de-sac that way and the cul-de-sac that way all do fireworks, and we don't have to do anything except sit there. We get like 3 shows in one, and we can even see the town fireworks from the house as well if it's a clear night.
Yeah, so we are in the Charlotte metro area, but we are south of the border, so fireworks are
really awesome.
All over the place here.
Yeah, the good ones are legal here.
Yep. And it's all pretty spectacular.
It is pretty spectacular, yeah. Actually. We another day we will have to share some of our own fireworks stories from yesteryear related to mishaps and adventures with fireworks and vehicles. And
yeah. We've got some stories, that's for sure, if anyone would listen. But anyway. Hey, Jay, it's good to see you here. Yeah, this has been a pretty not fancy.
No, fancy at all.
No, not fancy at all. Stream, I guess we call it.
He's like, what's the word?
There are words.
Words, yes, words are good.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. Yeah, I was thinking about doing this tomorrow night, and then I realized you had your stream coming up, so I said I can't do it on Monday. But Sunday night doesn't look like it's a great time either. So,
well, it could be Sunday. It could also be the fact that it's a holiday weekend, and many people are probably with their families, whether they want to be or not, and they're having fun. So, or they're out of town traveling. So it could just be it's not a good holiday weekend.
Yeah, that's very, very possible. But cool to see that you are moving to the basement. I'm excited to see what that's actually like.
Yeah, he still has to, share the dining room and other rooms of the house. He hasn't gotten his own quite yet.
So if we weren't painting today, we probably would have been at the pool because it was about 96, 97 here today. So the pool would have been really nice. Instead, we were inside an enclosed room with lots of paint fumes.
He makes it sound so terrible, and yet it really isn't.
Being up high was dangerous, let's put it that way.
What he didn't mention was that one of the little ones is with my parents for the week. So we only have one little one this week who's not so little anymore, thankfully.
So, Jay, if the basement doesn't have to be set up, it's really about defining your space to have to actually do your streaming and work. So I get that. I have a defined space for a desk, but the desk and the testing doesn't really facilitate streaming unless I want to be a talking head
Well, they're not really in the same location.
No, I have defined stuff as Studio 1, Studio 2, Studio 3 inside the house, and I've got shipping and receiving and Lab 1, Lab 2, Lab 3.
See, and I just get an office. That's all I get.
Yeah, she gets an office.
I get an office. That's what we painted today.
And she has pretty awesome tech support.
Yeah, they're okay. We had an issue after the storm a few weeks ago where it did all kinds of things with our internet. We started having cell phone issues in the house too. And so after 3.5 weeks of me being ridiculously frustrated and the fact my phone kept breaking up and I I had to do Wi-Fi calling, but if I went out of the house, I got a better signal, but couldn't do Wi-Fi, all kinds of craziness. So yesterday I spent a good hour and a half on with Verizon and telling them, they're like, well, we have to do this on your phone. I'm like, it's not the phone. The issue was the signal. And here's all the documentation. And I finally said, you do realize my husband is an IT networking guy. Pretty sure I know what I'm talking about. Can we please just fix the issue? Well, lo and behold, by the time we got to like tier 3 support, they were like, oh yeah, we've gotten a few complaints about this. There's a tower issue. We're working on it. Well, why couldn't you have told me that an hour and a half ago? Would have been much better. So I do have some pretty awesome tech support.
What I heard out of that is Wi-Fi outside the house needs to be better.
Well, I mean, if that's what you want to do with it, sure. Or cell signal in the house needs to be better. Whichever one is better, easier, faster, more fun.
I don't know. Outside Wi-Fi would probably be cheaper, but less secure.
I don't know. What would they rather see you do? Outside Wi-Fi or inside cell signal booster?
I don't know. What would you like me to do, if anything? Whoa, it just tripped out. I don't know what happened. It blinked.
The next live stream he does, I'll try to like not be here, and then maybe you can actually monopolize his time. Although this is entertaining for me.
Maybe by then I'll actually figure out how to share stuff, or have a setup that I'm not trying to put together 5 minutes before the live stream.
Well,
so.
If I would just like...
So let's see if this is going to work.
Either of them have an opinion as to what you take on next at home.
Lowcastle said I should take on both.
I mean, I agree, Lowcastle. We can't reach the stars if we don't shoot for them.
True. Jay says that he moved into office at work and has no cell phone reception in the new office.
So we have a couple of buildings at work that also have no cell reception. Or the back doesn't, but the front does. And thankfully, my office at work has a very good cell signal. But yes, we have been in the dungeon many times before.
So Jay, do you really think that is a promotion, or is it just a way to keep you concentrated on the work that you have to for your promotion?
I don't know. Maybe they're I don't know. Maybe it's you're being promoted and you're so good. We don't want anybody else to have your time or monopolize it. We want you solely focused on us, and that's why you have no cell signal in your new office.
Maybe.
See?
But anyways, I think we're wrapping up around 30 minutes. We've probably monopolized. These are paint fumes, I guess. Monopolized enough of Lowcastle's time, Jay's time, anyone else who stopped by. Sorry that this was such a bad one. I will really try to do better next time, or just create some better videos. But that's all I got for now. Thank you for stopping by. This has been Goodmonkey.
And Goodmonkey's wife.
Thanks for watching. I hope that your night is not terrible.